The driver's seat is presented by Ray Reese Volkswagen and Portland's Hyundai, Portland's #1 VW dealer, and Portland's newest Hyundai dealer. Now let's climb into the driver's seat on Miles Around Television.
In our driver's seat is the 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo. Of course, this car is significant in many ways, but two things that stand out on the history timeline of this vehicle are in the 1947 Geneva Auto Show and the 2007 Geneva Auto Show, we saw Gran Turismos. The crowd left in both instances with wows on their face. This car really stunned everybody that saw it. And how fitting that 60 years on, the car carries on that Italian engineering and sexiness that we know Maserati can make.
Well, there is more than just that that's significant about this car. You know, the Gran Turismo and all the cars that came along those lines were built for one thing: grand touring. This is a larger car than it actually appears when you see it in pictures. Now, one of the design studio personnel was actually quoted saying, "We wanted to make the car look smaller than it actually is." And I have to say, when you stand next to it, you realize this is a full-size sports car wrapped in a touring body. I actually own a 1984 and a 1985 Maserati, and I have to say that things have certainly changed since the clunkers they made back in the 80s. Ever look at bad wiring or an Italian sports car and the little traits that go with it? Well, you won't find that with these cars. We're going to take a look inside. We're going to take a look at the styling, but right now let's take a look under the hood.
Now we have the hood open of the 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo, and this vehicle has a very long wheelbase, which ensures one very perfect thing. They can get the 4.2 V8 engine behind the front axle line. They give it enough space.
Well, he's right. You know, the weight bias in this vehicle is actually 51% in the rear and 49% in the front. It makes the front end very light and very nimble, and you get some great feedback into the steering wheel. Well, you should. It's an Italian sports car by nature. Now, the 4.2-liter engine puts about 405 horsepower out, and it has a great manumatic transmission. Whether you want to put it in automatic or shift with the paddle shifters, it's up to you. I think that a car like this, that is a grand touring car, a car that's meant to go out on road trips for long distances, but yet still give you that flavor that you're driving an Italian sports car, is the perfect match. The ability to just stick it in auto and drive through traffic, or yet roll through the gears yourself, is a great combination. Now, the other thing I have to say is the fact that it has a great growl. What I mean by that is it has that distinct Italian sound. It's not an unknown fact that this engine is assembled by the Ferrari plant, and the horsepower that it makes is very Italian-ish. It's very high RPM, and it makes you feel as if you get that great thrust at high RPMs. No, it's not a Formula One car, but it sure makes you feel like you're driving one. Well, I have to make note of one small thing before we move on to exterior styling. It's the suspension that they put into these cars. It's part of their Skyhook system. What Maserati does is have a system that can actually go from fully soft, and what I mean by that, a nice luxury ride, up to the firmest setting of the suspension. So when it actually senses the wheel go over a bump, and the time it takes the wheel to even turn half a rotation, it actually firms the suspension enough to give you that firm ride and absorb the bumps. What it means to you is you get that luxury car and the sports car feel all in one automobile.
The 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo, she's a sexy vehicle. Wherever you go, you're going to get plenty of looks, and this car certainly does herself justice. Let me tell you that Maserati engineer their cars on the inside as well as they look on the outside. If I gave you a list of all the things that Maserati have done first, and you'd see them throughout the industry, you'd be surprised that they came from this manufacturer. Well, let's look at one of those things, the light-emitting diodes, the LED lights. Maserati first used them. They were the first production vehicle to have them on, was the 3200 GT. Well, in this particular car, you'll find 96 light-emitting diodes throughout the vehicle.
Now, I'm going to talk about what I think is the best part of the Gran Turismo from Maserati. It's this beautiful front end. I mean, it's very distinctive and very Italian in look and design. And of course, you get the Trident grille right here, both up on the nose cone and this beautiful molded chrome piece right here. But I want to touch on one more thing about those lights. I know we're kind of focusing on them, but they're just so cool. When you turn, the inside actually turns 15 degrees and the outside 7 degrees, and then vice versa. It gives a car with this much speed potential, by the way, it can go about 177 miles an hour, the ability to shine its lights out in front of you if you want to cruise at those speeds at night. But when it comes down to it, we're going to talk about style. If you want to distinct yourself away from any other kind of car brand or any other car in this segment, this is a car that can do it for you. Once inside the interior of the 2008 Gran Turismo, in the driver's seat you are greeted by a beautiful array of gauges. They have nice fonts on them. The paddle shifters are easy to use, and I love the fact that they've actually embedded the down and up for shifting in the levers themselves, not just some cheesy sticker. Now when you look at the coachwork, the stitching, the leather, the wood, everything feels refined. It has that kind of typical Italian feel to the seats. They're very hard, but very bolstered, but you do have lots of room. For my size, 6'2", I have lots of headroom, hip room, and shoulder room, and dare I say it, room for passengers in the back if you wanted to put them back there.
As far as the passenger is concerned, and the driver for that matter, this is pure Italian luxury. We have 10 different kinds of leathers, 3 kinds of stitching, 3 kinds of wood, and 5 carpet colors. And also with a 30GB hard drive on the interior, what more could you want? You can put your gas foot down and you can keep going until the music runs out and still be not bored with this luxurious ride. We've come to the time in the show when we talk about our 2 ups and 1 down. For this, the 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo, the first up has got to be sex appeal. You can attract the opposite sex from at least 10 blocks away in this vehicle. It's beautiful, it's loud, it's fast, it's everything that everybody wants in a sports car. The second thing about this vehicle that's got to be a major up is the fact that this vehicle is engineered by Ferrari. This vehicle has to be a brilliant drive. It couldn't be anything else but a brilliant drive. The vehicle on the road is great. The vehicle on its looks are great. Those have got to be the major 2 ups for me. The down of this vehicle is going to be a little complicated, as on the inside it's very cluttery. There's almost a button for everything. There's no toggles for things. There's no switches for things. It's almost like they wanted to add a new feature on the interior of the car and they put a new button. So I think if they redesigned the button structure and some of the electronics on the interior, this would be 100% buy for me.
When it comes to my 2 ups and 1 down, it's very easy to list them for the 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo. The first one is the passion that the car gives you. There are a lot of car manufacturers out there that make cars for everyone. This car company makes cars that people that want something out of their automobile. They want to feel it behind the wheel, they want to feel it in the gas pedal, and they want to feel it. They walk out into their driveway and see it. This car will give you that. My other up is going to be the jewel of an engine. 405 horsepower V8, and if it wasn't for the fuel shutoff and the rev limiter, you would think that the engine could rev to 15,000 RPMs, and it's absolute marvel, and it feels like an Italian engine. Beautiful power, beautiful sound. Now, as far as downs go, it's hard to nitpick this vehicle. I actually have a soft spot for Maseratis because I had the unique opportunity to own 2 of them. They were nowhere near as nice as this. They were actually project vehicles that had lots of problems. But you know what? When it comes down to it, I guess if I was going to spend 125 grand for a car, I'd at least want a sunroof. That completes our auto review right here on Miles Around of the 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo. The 2008 Maserati Gran Turismo comes standard with a 4.2-liter dual-overhead cam V8 and a 6-speed manumatic transmission. The standard vehicle price is $113,750 with an as-tested price of $131,250. The EPA rating for city miles per gallon is 13, and the highway EPA rating for miles per gallon is 21.
The driver's seat is brought to you by Ray Reese Volkswagen, family-owned and specializing in Volkswagens for over 15 years. And proudly presenting the all-new Portland Hyundai. Check them out at rayreese.com.